Hi, my name is Lisa McCoy, and I'm a registered dietitian with the University of Maryland Extension. And today I'm going to talk about how to make some healthy soups from scratch in 5 easy steps. Now that wintertime is here, it's the perfect time to warm up with a homemade soup. And you may think it's challenging, but really it is easy to make, and it can also be a very filling dinner and nutritious meal for you and your family. Following these steps can really help you to make your delicious soup that really is what you meet your family needs. So before you begin, you want to gather all of your ingredients and your equipment. So you need to decide what kind of soup you're going to have, what you're going to put in there. And if you want to, you can actually cut up the vegetables and the meats ahead of time. So it makes it easier to put together in the morning if before you go to work. And then how are you gonna fix it? Are you going to put it on the stove in a soup pot, or are you going to cook it in your slow cooker or an Instapot? So just having everything ready and then getting everything prepared to make your soup. So the first step when you're deciding to make your soup is trying to decide what type of stock or broth base you're going to use. So let's talk first about what is the difference between a stock and a broth, because you see both of those in the grocery store and you see them in recipes as well. So a broth is the liquid that is whenever you have a chicken or some kind of protein or vegetables have been cooked with that liquid, and then they strain the liquid, and that's the broth that you get. Like you'll see you buy beef broth or chicken broth in the grocery store. Whereas stock is a slower cooking process where you're cooking the whole chicken with the bones and everything and then straining it. And that is the stock that you have. So it's a little bit heartier and stronger flavor. Now you can purchase either stock or broth in the grocery stores in cans or in those boxes. And when you're looking for those, you want to try to find those that are low sodium or reduced sodium or unsalted, because those are going to be healthier for you. If you cannot find the unsalted, what you could do is buy the others and then just add a little bit more water to them to kind of minimize the saltiness and how much sodium is in there. You can also try making your own from scratch, whether you're cooking your chicken or making a vegetable based broth or even a fish based broth. And there's recipes you can find on the internet that also can help you to learn how to make your own broth. Now, we recommend the broth or stock based soups instead of cream based soups because they tend to be lower in calories and fat than your cream based soups. Next, you decide what kind of vegetables you want to put in your soups. And vegetables are really important to add more flavor to the soup and also gives a little more substance to it and includes a lot of good important nutrients like fiber, potassium, folate, vitamins A and C. So, common vegetables that you may see in soups are potatoes, carrots, onions or leeks, or celery. But you can also add vegetables like kale or spinach, butternut squash, cauliflower, mushrooms, anything you think would taste good in your soups. Now, you can use fresh vegetables or you can buy the bagged frozen vegetables as well. Both of those can be used. If you are using any vegetables that tend to be more fragile and softer, you may want to add those in the last half hour so they don't fall apart when you're serving your soup. Now you want to select the protein that you want to add to your soup. Now it can be an animal protein or a vegetable protein. Your animal-based proteins provide all of the amino acids that are important to build healthy and maintain strong muscles. So you can think about what kind of meats you want to add. And you're adding these meats that are already cooked ahead of time, and then you add them whenever you're adding your vegetables. So some different kinds of animal sources could be your lean beef. And when I say lean, you want to have those with the least amount of fat. So choosing like a loin or a round cut of beef, or if you're purchasing ground beef, to aim for that 90% lean or higher. The chicken, you take the skin off the chicken or purchase the boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Another alternative is to use the canned chicken, making sure it's packed in water, but it might be cheaper to have the canned chicken and just have those some cans of chicken handy in your pantry so you always have that available. If you like to have some kind of ham, maybe looking for low sodium or reduced sodium ham to add to your soup, and leftover turkey that might be in your freezer from Thanksgiving or Christmas, you can also add that to your soup. Fish is also an option to add to soups. Shrimp are popular, or white fish like cod or halibut. Some fishes may be too flaky and may fall apart in the soup, so you want to be careful what type of fish you're adding to that. If you want to just go with a true vegetarian, plant-based soup, then you go for the plant-based protein sources like beans, your black beans, your cannellini beans, your great northern beans, lots of different beans, lentils, split peas, chickpeas. You can either buy the beans that are in the cans and just rinse them off before adding them, or you can buy the dry beans and cook them ahead of time before you add them to the soup. One convenient thing, if you like a lot of beans, is you can buy a bag of called 15 bean soup, and it has a variety of beans there already to add to your soups. The fourth step is to select some kind of grain that you want to add to your soup. And these whole grains add a little bit more flavor and heartiness and can also add more fiber, B vitamins, and minerals to your soup. So your grains could be macaroni, it could be pasta noodles, orzo. Choosing the brown or wild rice instead of the white rice is going to have more fiber in there. And popular now are the ancient grains like barley, spelt, farro, and quinoa. So when you're adding these grains, you may want to add them uncooked, but sometimes they may get mushy. So maybe cooking the pasta and grains a little bit, but not all the way, undercooking them, and then adding them to the soup may help them to keep their consistency better in the soups. And the final step is to finish it off with the herbs and spices, because this can add a little bit more flavor and just be the finishing touch to your wonderful soup. Some common herbs and spices that are used are bay leaves, garlic, which could be either minced garlic or garlic powder, parsley, basil, and dill. Or you may use some unusual ones like cumin, ginger, mint, curry powder, turmeric. When you're adding some herbs and spices, if you're using the dried ones, I recommend that you kind of roll them in your between your hands first to release some of the flavor and the aroma before you're adding them to the soup. Or you can use the fresh ones if you have those available as well. So it really is best to experiment with the different combinations that you like and what your family likes as well. Now, if you think this sounds challenging of trying to do it all from scratch on your own, you can also find a simple vegetable based recipe, soup recipe, or a meat based soup recipe to follow. And then you can just learn to tweak it with your own preference for what kind of meat you want to add and what kind of vegetables you want to add, if you want to add some beans to it. So you can kind of tweak a recipe or just start your own from scratch, whichever you feel more comfortable with. But most of all, just enjoy your homemade soup with your family and friends on these cold winter nights.